Okay.
Hello, welcome to your fairy tale wedding show. I am your host, Claudia Chen. Today, I'm bringing on a super talented friend of mine. We work in the same field, so I'm so excited to have her on the show. She offers calligraphy and engraving services to personalize your wedding and wow your guests, making it unforgettable and memorable. So today, here with us is Telisa Roessein from Roessein Art. Hi, Telisa, how are you?
Hi, Claudia. Good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Making time to come on to our show. So, right off the bat, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into calligraphy?
So I am a mom of two boys. I have two young children. Previously, I was an HR professional. I was a generalist. I started calligraphy when I was on my mat leave, on my second mat leave. And I was basically kind of bored. I've been an artist my whole life, but I never tried calligraphy. I've done lettering, but I was always intimidated by calligraphy because it's just the tools and everything. It's just too intimidating. But I finally started anyway. I used my iPad and I didn't take any classes or anything, but I realized that I need some sort of like a person who actually walked me through, guide me like tips and tricks. So I went to class and ever since I practiced a lot, hours and hours, and to the point that I was comfortable enough to actually accept clients. And this is what I'm doing now full time.
Yeah, that is so great. Could you share with our viewers then what kind of services do you provide with your business?
I provide wedding calligraphy. That means a lot of them are day of details like place card, signage. I also do jacket lettering on if you want a special thing for your keepsake or your photo shoot. And so that's the main thing that I do for wedding. I also do hand engraving. So for any surfaces that's metal, glass, or stainless steel, sometimes like it would be useful for place card, or I've had clients who want me on site for their wedding, for their guests. So that's another service that I also provide.
Okay, so let's talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts, personalization. So, what is personalization and why is it important?
Personalization is a really big thing nowadays because in a world where everything is mass produced, everybody can just have access to everything that everybody wants. Personalization gives a unique experience where people can really have something that is only made for their own and just for their own. It just adds sentimental value and that experience that you're going to hold on for it for so long. Like, for example, if you're getting a perfume, anyone can get a perfume, but if you personalize it and like engrave it, you probably hold on to that bottle forever because it has that sentimental value. It has the message that the person gifted to you. So it is actually in higher demand in the market. It's $1 billion business, so it's a thing now.
It is, and I think it holds so much more dear to the person when, for example, it has your name on it, right? It's your very own item. And what are some of the methods or the ways that you go about personalizing these items?
So I do calligraphy. A lot of times I do full calligraphy. What it means, it's a method of faking the calligraphy because a lot of time it's a surface that's not paper. Most of the surface that I do is actually not paper. Like for example, the jacket or place cards for the guests. Sometimes it's leather. So I use regular ink. Sometimes it's paint. It really depending on what kind of surface I'm working on. And sometimes it's tile. But when it comes to hand engraving, it's only specifically for metal, glass, what did I say, stainless steel, just because it's a drill, right? So we can't use that. We can't engrave anything that's delicate. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like it's not meant for paper.
That's right.
So
Now that you touched upon that, why don't you share with our viewers a list of things that you can personalize with calligraphy versus items that you can engrave on?
so calligraphy, for example, I would say a lot of place cards like leaves. I've done leaves before. Tiles, I mentioned that before. A lot of place cards. So anything that's paper based or non-metal, non-glass and whatnot. Something that you don't need to use for what's it called, like for eating or anything. So I would probably use hand engraving. Hand engraving is more like it'll be engraved forever. So it's not gonna go away. So the value is obviously higher than calligraphy. So yeah, so I think I mentioned pretty much everything, did I? Yeah, pretty much all of that. So engraving, glass, metal, stainless steel, and everything else is calligraphy.
Okay. So for wedding couples who are interested in mirror signage or mirror seating charts or just any seating charts, why would someone want to hire a handwritten calligrapher versus just a printed vinyl?
It's so calligraphy is a conversational starter piece of art, right? When it's a piece of art, it's done by hand. It's done by a professional, someone who's done it, who's practiced for hours, who knows what they're doing. Vinyl, I mean, I think it's okay, but like anyone can do it. If you're given Cricut and then a font, you just do it, and anyone can do it, right? When it comes to calligraphy, it's a skill that you need to gain quite a long time. It took me a while to actually for me to be happy with the style. And on top of that, with calligraphy, there's a lot more versatility that you can do. You can do illustration, you can do floral drawing. And for you to do that with like vinyl or something that's printed, it's not gonna, you know right away that it's just an image that you probably get from like Google image. So it's less special. I would see it, be like, oh yeah, okay, it's nice, my name is there. But when it's like something that's like actually drawn, you'd be like, oh my god, a person actually did this. And then the guests will remember that, so it become more memorable. Like, and they think like, wow, the couple really really think about the details. And that's why a lot of couples choose to have calligrapher over printed. And it's usually for couples who are looking to have weddings that are small to medium size. They're the ones who really want to have high value details over those who are like 500 people, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like at that scale, you'll probably get 2 or 3 mirrors going instead of just one.
Yeah, so when it comes to mirrors, when it's like 500 people, first of all, it's gonna cost a lot of money. So if you have the budget, sure, I'd be down for it. But the thing is that the higher the number of guests, the higher the design setup fee, and the longer time it will take to actually create the seating chart. So
Yeah.
I ever get, unless it's like a celebrity, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Because like with mirror seating charts, it does take a lot of time to prepare the mirror, make sure that all the spacing is correct, making sure the layout is good. And that's one of the things with vinyl versus hand drawn. Like with the vinyl, if it gets printed and if the sizing is not right, then you have to redo all that again. But like right when we're doing the mirrors ourselves, we can actually gauge it as we go, and then we can see how we can adjust it on the way. And that pricing it needs to
Price.
be considered just because it's a human mind and human body who's doing all of that instead of a computer doing it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually had a client who had her seating chart done, and it was like a vinyl with the font. And she didn't like it, so she came to me to redo it in calligraphy because they realized the value of it. So it's and because he has like small, it was a small intimate wedding too, and she wants to
Mm-hmm.
really have.
Yeah, I've heard of a few people already who actually want to keep that seating chart, a keepsake afterwards, just because it is a piece of your wedding that you're keeping with you. Like you can see who was sitting where, and like when it's actually done up nicely, it's a decorative piece in your home, right? And it's probably something that people will want to keep afterwards. That's for sure.
And what I also noticed when it comes to printed and vinyl, like the font, it's just the composition is always off. Like, whereas we can do the flourishing where it's like nicely done, but printed is just like there's, because it, again, it's a font, right? It's a handwritten font, so and they don't know how to like make it look evenly,
Yeah.
like the composition.
Yeah, I guess like I mean like if you really thinking of saving money and doing a printed seating chart, you may as well go with like a printed board. So at least the layout is perfect because everything is printed and is to scale. But if you actually want a vinyl to be taped on a mirror, then it just doesn't come out quite right.
Yeah.
Just because you actually have to figure out where to put it. And then once you put it on, if it's not done properly, then it's kind of like, right? Yeah. So I know that there are a lot of people out there who know people who are quite crafty or quite creative and want to do a DIY. And what do you have to say about people who are thinking of doing a DIY or taking the DIY route?
I think if they are looking to have a DIY route, at least have 6 months ahead of time to really learn about calligraphy and making sure that all your angles are the same, all your baseline, because it takes a lot of practice. And also really try to, the thing is that if you only give yourself, say, like a month or 2 weeks, that's not going to be enough. Your calligraphy might not be legible, and if you're hiring someone who's professional, they know what they're doing, they know like the how to measure for each name, how much space you need, and how to make it even. And it's just the same idea as if you're hiring a photographer or you're going to use your smartphone, right? So if you're hiring a professional, well, then you'll get your money worth, and your guests can appreciate it. And then because we've dealt with a lot of clients before, we know what works, we know what doesn't. Whereas if you're like new and I just want to do it yourself, and you're only giving yourself very, very minimal time, then you're just gonna break down and cry. Because it's not as easy as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's definitely something that you have to keep in mind if you're doing something of a DIY. It's a lot of preparation work that we actually have to train for it, definitely. And also, if you're brand new at doing a calligraphy, which you haven't done before, there are actually a lot of little details in regards to the way that you're writing the words that will look a lot better if you know the tips and tricks. And you do need to give yourself time to practice in order to make it look nice. And I know that Telisa have been doing, like, have been changing her style since the beginning when she started. And I'm also changing my style, learning from the traditional calligraphy, so that there are a lot of little tips that we actually learn as we have been doing it for a while.
even if I've been doing it for over a year, I still want to improve my style. And for someone who just started, I remember when I started like doing my first sitting chart, I almost cried. It was so hard. And preparing takes so long. The design, this is why there's a design setup fee. Preparing, it's a lot of math. And the more that you prepare, the better, the easier it is on the mirror, as opposed to you messed up and then you have to clean everything up all over again, and you don't want to go to that point. So
Yeah, like talking about mirror scene charts, like the preparation work is the key. Like the writing is nothing at the end. Like
it was so
preparation.
already. It's
If you
fast.
go to Talisa's Instagram, she has her story tells you about the tips and tricks. This is the preparation work. If you don't get the preparation work done, then like that whole piece is just going to break down. That's for sure. Okay, so moving on. If someone is going to hire you for any kind of services, can you just walk us through a quick process of what they actually need in order to contact you?
Mhm. So on my website, I do have a contact form. So every single time I get someone inquired, even through Instagram or phone, I do ask them to enter that form, because so then I'll know what your deadline is and I'll know what you're looking for. And then once I have that, because right now I have a CMS, so I
Mhm.
can track all my project, who I need to follow up and whatnot. So what I would typically need, really depending on what you're looking for. So if it's a sitting chart, I need to know how many people. I need to know, is it if it's over 100, I typically ask them, it's better to go by alphabetical order. Otherwise, people are gonna stand there forever looking for their names. If it's 50, it's okay. Like you can just go with table numbers. And then I need to know what you want to be included in that, in the sign and whatnot. And is it going to be, and what surface are you looking for? Is it mirror? Is it acrylic? Is it wood? Because it changes like the rate, the price. So I do need, like, there's a lot of going back and forth, and I'll have like a questionnaire of that, of what you actually looking for. Exactly. Same thing with place card. What ink do you want to use? What kind of surface am I providing? Are you providing? And all of that stuff. And then I'll prepare a proposal with the quotes and whatnot. And then you look it up, and then you want to agree, and then we have a contract, including the payment. And then once I receive the 50% deposit, and then I do need to have the surface to be provided to me at least the most 2 weeks in advance. The reason being is it can get really busy. And 3 weeks is fine, but not too long, not like 2 months, because I don't want to have your mirror standing here for 2 months and then I don't know what to do. What if something happened to it and then I become liable, right? So 3 weeks is good. And then a day before, so once it's in production, a day before it finishes, I'm sorry, before you pick up, then the 50% requirement is to be paid, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, for sure. Like a time period right beforehand, like how long we have leading up to it. It really depends. Like 2 to 3 weeks is a good time. I mean, like with our lives going
Yeah,
on, and but
but
we don't want to have it for too long. But we still need enough time, just because you may also change your seating chart last minute, right? Like so, we still need that time
right.
to make
Well, I
everything.
typically, yeah. So when it comes to city charts, like whatever they give me, that is final. If there is a change, I'll usually update the invoice, and then they'll just have to pay the remaining, because
Yeah,
it's
so you also have to be aware of when you're working with your calligrapher, if that's something that you're working with. Now you talked about like providing you with the services. Is there a difference between buying the service for you or renting the service from you? What would
yeah.
you usually recommend?
Of course. So some surfaces I actually have that you can rent. Like I have some mirrors for welcome sign or seating chart. I have a very few. And so mirrors, chalkboard. I actually have a reusable wood plank as well. And I'm just looking around because I'm actually in my showroom. This is where I do my consultation in person. And then and I also so the renting is done typically if a couple don't want to keep it after. A lot of times it's because they're gonna move away, they're not gonna stay local. So I do provide the okay, well, I have this to want to rent, you could do so. And I have the what's it called, the card box as well. And the buying is, well, 80% of the time my client buy their own surface because they want to keep it. It's something sentimental, especially for like welcome signs. They can just put it up in their house and it becomes like a welcome, like a decor, right? So a lot of times they do that. And I usually tell them where to buy the mirrors that are affordable, not like $10,000 worth of mirror. And sometimes they like borrow it from their grandma and whatnot because they want to have that look. So yeah, it really depending on personal choice.
Yeah. So, last question before we wrap up. What are some of the newest trends for this year in calligraphy that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of vellum that could be used for place cards or menu or uh, what's it called, table numbers.
Mhm.
Vellum is a huge thing. I'm seeing it a lot in stationery, which you can also, if you want to be consistent, you can also use that as your details. Wax seals is a lot, and a lot of banners, like linen banners. For it's a new thing. I think it's a really bohemian. I don't know if bohemian is the word, but actually, it's just more like very rustic style. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of copper. What's it called? The copper stand, and then have a banner. That's
Mhm.
pretty popular nowadays. I'm seeing mirror hasn't gone away. Chalkboard is kind of dying.
Chalkboard
Yeah,
is very much like it dependent on the type of wedding. If you're
it's
more of a luxurious wedding, it's usually not as much chalkboard.
I haven't received chalkboard
Mhm.
requests. A lot of them mostly are mirrors, but yeah. So those are the trends nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to share with us something that's behind you?
Sure. So right here is my bride jacket. So I love doing. I think it's a really beautiful sentimental for brides to keep. Typically, it's used on for leather or denim if it's a summer wedding. So I have one that's coming up that I have to work on, and behind is just this is basically these are actually samples that I have because I was at a wedding show, and this is like a backdrop that can be used for table runner or the backdrop when you do your vows and whatnot. So I actually letter our entrance songs at our wedding, which
Mm.
is followed at a coffee shop. It's my favorite song. So I mean, I have a lot more in this front house, but this is my sign. Ashley made this, got it done for me from
Ah,
Kane.
it's super beautiful. If you want to check out more of her work, definitely go check out Telisa's Instagram page for sure. All right, so before we wrap up, I know you have very nice free gifts for our viewers. Would you want to tell us a little bit more about it?
I do. So I have been really into floral illustration lately. So I created some freebies for you guys. It is a printable table number with the floral design. So it's from 1 to 20. So
Mm-mm.
you obviously most of the time it's about that many. But yeah, you can just print it like because it's a line drawing. So it's just you can just literally print it on regular paper and then frame it and then you're done. And it's I think it's beautiful.
Yes,
Can't
it's
wait.
absolutely beautiful. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy this very much. So thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on the show with us. And it's great meeting you again. Always have fun chatting with you.
Me.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.